All right. Hello. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. And thank you so much for joining me today. We are live. It's the 22nd of April of 2025. And we're here to talk about immigration. And so thank you so much for being here. Our topic today for our episode is officers that are checking social media at the border and in airports. All right. And so this is something that you want to be aware of. This is happening. And so you want to be a little bit more cautious than we've been in the past about what shows up on your social media feed. Okay. So we'll talk about that, and it'll be a short and sweet episode today. All right, I'm a little bit with a time crunch, and so I'm just kind of putting that out there at the beginning. And so, but nonetheless, welcome, and thank you all so much for being here. And welcome to another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Remember that the Empowered Immigrant Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration laws and to make the most out of their lives. All right. Today, our theme is officers checking social media at the border, whether that's at the south border or whether that's in the airport. And my question, as always, for everyone is, hey, are you in a situation where you want to figure out what the best strategy is, what the best option is, or you just want some help to up-level your life, apply for a green card, apply for asylum, apply for a U visa, so that you can fix this immigration situation and get past it and improve the level of freedom that you have in your life? Because if so, go for it. And if so, I'd love to help you with that. My firm is on a mission to win 10,000 immigration cases in the next 10 years, and we would love for your case to be one of them. All right? So thanks everyone who's here, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or TikTok. And if you have questions as we go through, please feel free to submit your questions. I'll do my best to answer them right here, right now, live. All right? So welcome. Thanks again for being here. It's April of 2025. Trump has been back in the White House 3 months. There's a lot of changes. I've discussed a lot of the changes that are happening on our episodes recently. You know, the Lincoln Riley Act, the increased budget for deportations, the registration requirement is happening. Immigration has ended TPS for several different countries. DHS has fired immigration judges. I just received word that 3 additional immigration judges here in the Bay Area were let go last week. Which is crazy. I'm not confirmed. I don't have that confirmed. I've heard that as anecdotal conversation in my social media feeds. But lots of things are happening, folks. And so the Alien Enemies Act, right? The detention and putting into deportation proceedings of people even with green cards who have been politically active, so crack down on political protest. Lots of things happening, and some of it is quite concerning, and that's where we are today. Okay, so welcome, thank you for being here. You know, just to jump into our topic, and again, as I'm talking, if you have questions, please feel free to submit them. The topic for today is what's going on in terms of social media. And as we watch the news and as we follow what's happening at the border, the best advice is if you are traveling and if you are coming in, even with a lawful visa, even with a lawful green card, you want to be mindful of what is on your social media accounts before you get on the plane and before you present yourself to a border official. Okay? The way it works is when you come off the plane or when you go through in your car or even walking, all right, when you first go and swipe your passport, typically that's not where the issue is, all right? If you first go and swipe your passport and present yourself to border, they'll ask you a question or two, right? And if everything looks good, they'll allow you into the country. But if there's something weird, anything weird, if you're flagged for any reason, what they'll ask is they'll send you to go to secondary inspection. And it's in secondary inspection that the officers can get much more granular with you. And there, it's like you'll go to a waiting room, and there might be 50 people in that waiting room, depending on the airport, depending on the time of day, whatever, right? There might be 2 or 3, there might be 100, right? People all there in the waiting room waiting to meet with a agent from Customs and Border Patrol to review your documents, to review your situation, and to determine whether or not you're admissible to enter the United States and whether or not you're entering on a valid visa. Okay? And so what are they looking for? They're looking for lots of different things. All right? They can check your phone, they can check your luggage, they can check all kinds of things, text message history, social media channels, they can check all kinds of things. And what they're looking for is potentially several things. One, evidence that you might violate or that you might overstay your visa. All right? If there's a text message that says, hey, thanks for letting me stay at your house for the next year, but you're coming on a tourist visa that's only valid for 6 months, they could use that text message to just cancel your visa and deny your entry. Right? They might be looking for evidence that you're working or that you intend to work without authorization. Hey, who's this person that texted you? Right? Saying that, hey, are you coming in on Monday at 8 o'clock? All right? Like that's an indication. Maybe they're suspicious that you're going to be working in violation of visa status. They can check social media and text messages for that. Right? They'll always check social media for evidence of drug use. Don't have pictures with a marijuana leaf or whatever in the background, or it's like that stuff can be scrutinized. Any evidence of gang activity, any evidence now of political protest against the government, right? It's okay to have maybe a few things that that are political in nature, but if you have photos of yourself actively protesting against the U.S. government or especially sensitive topics about Palestine right now, we're just seeing immigrants be denied entry who have been actively participating in protests against the U.S. support of Israel in regards to the occupation of Gaza and in regards of what's happening with Palestine right now. And so it's like, it shouldn't be that way, but that is what we're seeing. And so you got to be aware. You've got to be aware. And you don't want, if you're entering on a visa or on a permit or on advanced parole or on a green card, right now, you've got to be mindful of, what they're looking at. Another thing that you've got to understand, right? They are the Department of Homeland Security, so they have very powerful tools at their disposal. Like they can use AI, and they are using AI to have bots check all of your chat message history, right? And check all of your social media profile and, find anything that might cause a red flag. And so you got to be aware of that, right? They're using sophisticated technology to aid them in doing these searches just quickly. And you got to understand that that's what's happening. Okay, this isn't like a human being that is looking at the first post on your social media feed only, right? They have technology that they can use to really look at everything in your social media history. Okay, So you got to be aware of that. So what do you do? What's the takeaway from this? And then I'll get into your questions, right? So what to do, like if you have those things on your phone or on your Facebook channel or Instagram or something like that, or Twitter account, X account, whatever, you might think about reviewing the history that you have there, and you might think about deleting those things from your phone ahead of time. And although even deleting them doesn't guarantee that they don't show up in that type of search, right? But still, it's like, okay, you want to be mindful of how your social media looks to an immigration officer, and you want to be mindful that you've looked at your own online accounts and that you've done it and maybe are at least ready to answer questions about uh, uh, issues or photos that might show up there. And you want to be ready to do that before you get on the plane. All right? Don't let anything that happens in a secondary inspection interview be a surprise to you. Like, go back and look at some of your history, and it's like, okay, what was I doing and what was I saying when I said that? Okay? So anyway, that's my topic for today. I hope that's useful. I hope that's helpful. Anybody that's just tuning in right now, my name's Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. I'm a certified specialist in immigration law, and I'm the founding attorney here at our law firm. And if you have questions or if you want to like actually discuss what's going on in your specific case right now, my team is full right now. Like we have consults booked out 2-3 weeks in the future, and but we are working on that. I'm actually, if you want to know, I'm actually hiring 3 attorneys simultaneously, right? I've been interviewing different attorneys to join our team. So if you know any great immigration attorneys, hey, feel free to have them give me a call. But that's the reality, right? There is a lot happening in immigration right now, and we've got a lot of folks that are looking to work with our firm, and we've got a lot of folks looking for good legal advice. And so, but nonetheless, if that's you, please give us a call. We're here to help. We'd love to help. Yes, you might need to wait a couple weeks in order to meet with us, but at least you'll get good advice on your situation. And once I have a couple additional attorneys in, we'll be able to again meet even same week. All right. So that's where we're at. Let me get into your questions here. Let's see, Gonzalez, I see you there. Thank you. Yeah, you say people getting deported at their I-130 interviews. That's so sad. That's true. And to be clear, some people get detained at an I-130 interview, but nobody would get deported at an I-130 interview unless they are already subject to a deportation order, or unless they're subject to what we call expedited removal. All right? So just be mindful of those 2 issues. And if you already have a deportation order, or if you're subject to expedited removal, and you're going to want to have an attorney that goes with you to your interview. All right? And hopefully an attorney that screens both of those things even before you apply for your I-130. All right, Cash Keem, I see your question here. What if you make a mistake on your I-485 and put the wrong entry, but you already sent it out? Do you mean put the wrong entry date, or do you mean put the wrong manner of entry? When there's typos or errors on an I-485, you can often correct those when you go in for your interview. All right? Sometimes they'll ask for an RFE, a request for additional evidence. Sometimes they'll reject the case if there's something missed on an application and on forms. But otherwise, mistakes for the most part, if they're simple like typographical errors, things like that, typically you can correct them during your interview with the officer. You can be like, hey, officer, before we get started, I just want to raise your attention. Page 4, question 17, I need to change from yes to no, or whatever. Or page 2, section 2, I need to correct my my manner of entry or the date of entry. It's actually this date. Sorry, I got that wrong as I typed it in on the form. Something like that, okay? That happens all the time, right? And so immigration officers are very familiar, there's probably, these forms are, some of these applications are 200 pages long. So, as with evidence and everything else, right? At least in my office, that's very common. And so because of that, there's a lot of volume, there's a lot of information that gets repeated in many different places. And so every once in a while, it's normal, right, that there might be a typo in one of those forms. And we do our best. We have, in our firm at least, we have client review and paralegal review and attorney review, right? And so it's like, we go through this meticulously to avoid any typo as much as possible, but nevertheless, it still happens every once in a while, right? And immigration officers understand that. All right, so Carter, Cash Keem, just to follow up on that, it does not cause inadmissibility when it's a typo, all right? It only causes inadmissibility or like a substantive problem for your case if you intentionally lie on an application. But for, sorry, I said 1982 instead of 1983 or something like that, this does not cause inadmissibility. You're still eligible to get your case approved, all right? So just want to be clear about that. All right, Carter, can I travel back with only travel documents? I don't have a green card yet. I was granted asylum. So thank you for asking this question, Carter, and congratulations on winning asylum. If you have travel documents, you should be okay. Talk to your lawyer first, but you should be okay to leave the U.S. and come back. The best advice, though, is do not travel back to your country. Okay, travel to a different country that you have the ability to travel to. And the reason that is because if you win asylum from that country, in the winning of asylum, you're saying that your life or your freedom is threatened in that country. So it would be very unwise. Like the government will be like, okay, were you lying on your asylum application? Why is it that you went to this country if your life really is in danger in that country? All right? And so you don't want to go back to your home country, but you could go to a third country, for example, as long as you have travel authorization to enter that country. And then with your travel documents from the U.S., you should be able to come back. Okay? All right, JAL 2300. Is it okay to go to Juarez for an appointment during these times? As long as you're eligible, right? As long as you're eligible. My office has won several cases at Ciudad Juarez, even during the Trump administration. And so just talk with your lawyer, make sure you're prepared, make sure you understand the strengths and weaknesses of your case, make sure you understand what your plan B would be if your case got denied for some reason, all right? And then if that's your best way to get a green card, or really I should say if that's your only way to get a green card, then do it, right? If you're eligible, then that's the way to do it, all right? And there are some cases where it's like that is the best and only real solution to an immigration case, and if that's the case, then so be it, all right? Jake, I see your question here. Is it safe to travel internationally? I have a criminal record. USCIS knew it, but they granted U.S. citizenship. Okay, if you're a U.S. citizen and if your U.S. citizenship was lawfully gotten, it wasn't gotten through fraud, etc., then yes, you're safe to travel internationally. Have a wonderful trip, right? Have a wonderful trip and let us know when you get back how it went, all right? But U.S. citizens have absolute travel rights, okay? The only way to take that right away from you would be to first to denaturalize you, okay? And that would be to file a federal complaint against you saying that your citizenship was unlawfully received. And if that hasn't happened, then don't worry about it, right? Unless there's reason to worry about it, there's no need to preemptively fight that type of case unless you receive the papers write a complaint in federal court. So anyway, Jake, have a safe trip. You'll be fine. All right, marketing. And if you have questions about that, if you think that if there's any possibility that there was fraud in your original citizenship case, or that your citizenship was gotten incorrectly, then talk to an immigration lawyer or feel free to have a consultation, right? But if your citizenship is lawful, have a great trip, okay? All right, let's see, Beast Mode Lady. All right, thank you for asking this. You say, what about people who were allowed to travel by plane to another state? Will they be stopped even if you're doing everything right? And I mean, if they're a good person, no problems with a U visa pending. Okay, I got that. So normally, if you have a U visa pending and a work permit and a driver's license and documents in order, a U visa pending is not a U visa approved. All right? A U visa pending does not give a person like valid immigration status, so to speak. All right? Now, if you've been granted deferred action through the U visa, then that puts you in a better place. You've been granted a work permit, etc. So yeah, I mean, we've had clients that are in that context and they travel to other states inside the country without issue, and you should be okay. All right, there are certain states that I would recommend avoiding, but for the most part, you should be okay. But here's the thing that you got to know, right? U visas, if they're approved, now you've got a visa, all right? But if they're pending, you don't actually have valid papers yet. Your case is pending. If you've been granted deferred action, which many people with U visas have, that grant of deferred action is a grant. It's a status. You have deferred action status through your U visa application, but it could be taken away. All right, it could be changed. It could be subject, like it's a government grant of a government program. We haven't heard anything from the Trump administration that they're going to do away with deferred action for U visas. At least I have not heard that, right? But that's something where it's like you want to be mindful and just be cautious. And I'm glad, Beast Mode Lady, I'm glad you're in that situation, and I'm glad you're asking the question. But sometimes it's like for U visa, for folks that don't have U visas yet, but their visas are pending, you know, you want to talk through things with your lawyer. You want to get clear with your lawyer, you know, just in case you have any doubts. All right, for the most part, travel inside the U.S. If you have a driver's license and a work permit and documents showing that your visa is still currently pending, for the most part, in my experience, you'll be okay. Okay? That's my answer. All right. So Ken, you ask, if you have an asylum application, can you adjust status with a labor certification? I mean, you're asking, this is a complex question. You're asking if you have an asylum application that's not approved yet, an asylum application pending, but now you have a labor certification through your employer, can you adjust status? Is that what you're asking? Most of the time, not. If that's the question, if that's the precise question, your asylum case is pending, not yet approved, and you are getting a labor certification like for a H-1B visa or for an employment-based green card, can that get approved, and can you adjust status through that? Most of the time not, and the reason most of the time not is because most of the time when you're submitting an asylum application, you're not otherwise maintaining other immigration status. And so because you're not otherwise maintaining other immigration status, normally they will not adjust your status to through a labor certification without leaving the U.S. to do it. Normally they'll require you to consular process. All right? However, that's not the truth for all situations. You might have 245I protection, you might have maintained your visa status, all right, and not just gone forward with your asylum case. And so you know, talk to a lawyer about the specifics in your situation, Ken. All right, but often, in my experience, folks with an asylum application pending will not be able to adjust their status. And so, so anyway, that's my answer. Okay, talk to a lawyer to get precise advice in your situation, and if you're eligible to adjust, hey, go for it. All right. Let's see. Pink Cotton Candy 20. Any changes to N400 naturalization for an 18-year-old? Parents naturalized 2 weeks before you were 18. You asked this question before. All right, and it's a good question. Thank you for asking this. If your parents naturalized before you turned 18, then you should not need to naturalize. If your parents naturalized 2 weeks before you turned 18, and if you had a green card, then you are already a citizen by law. All right, and you do not need an N400. Congratulations, you've already won your case. You derived citizenship through your parents. Okay? And so that's what you need to look into. I recommend you have a consultation with a lawyer who knows this stuff and just explore whether or not you've already won your citizenship. Because if so, you can apply directly for your U.S. passport or for what's called an N600 for a certificate of citizenship, which is so much better than having to go through the naturalization process. All right. Efren Martinez, I see you there. Good morning. Have a question. As a green card holder and I apply for citizenship and I get denied, if I apply for citizenship and get denied, does it trigger deportation? Only if the reason for your denial is because they are arguing that you're quote-unquote deportable. Okay? So it's a good question. Thank you for asking it. They can't NTA you and send you to immigration court unless they are alleging that you are actually deportable. In other words, maybe they deny your citizenship because they say that you don't have enough evidence of your physical presence in the U.S. Maybe they deny your citizenship because they say you haven't paid your taxes, and so you don't have evidence that you're a person of good moral character, as they define it. All right? Those things do not trigger deportability, right? If, though, they deny your citizenship because they say that you got your green card through fraud and you never should have had a green card to begin with, then they could put you into deportation proceedings. Or if they deny your citizenship because they say you committed a crime and that crime makes you deportable, okay? Then if that's the situation, then they can NTA you, put you into immigration court, and now you are, now you're going to be facing deportation. But even in deportation proceedings, you can, and you have the right to defend yourself, right? And fight that case and say, no, wait a second, I didn't. The crime I committed does not cause deportability, or I didn't commit fraud or misrepresentation when I got my green card, or whatever it is, right? You can fight that case. So anyway, hope that's helpful. And thank you for asking that. So let's see here. Rashana Bell, you say, can my green card be renewed with a nole case? What you're saying, nole prosecute, not prosecuted case on a simple assault charge. If your green card can be renewed with that type of case. So talk to a lawyer for sure. Talk to a lawyer to know for sure. All right, the best advice, talk to a lawyer to know for sure. And probably, okay, probably. If your case, if what I'm understanding your case to be, your case was actually not prosecuted, nole proseque, I think is how it's said, is the Latin term for will not be prosecuted, all right? And if that's the situation, then that's not a conviction that would go against or affect your green card in any way. And so therefore, yes, you should be able to renew your green card without an issue. but if every county terms, their terminology might be different as they're going through the criminal court process. And so meet with the lawyer, review the records carefully, and then make the call as to whether or not to renew your green card. Okay, but hopefully, I mean, it would be wise, right? Meet with the lawyer first, and then make that decision. All right, Carlos Rua, I see your question. My wife was given her green card for 2 years. Is it safe for her to travel, or should she wait? Yeah, I mean, a green card. So your wife was given a conditional green card. She's a conditional permanent resident of the U.S. In that situation, she has all the rights of a permanent resident, including travel rights and work authorization. The best advice, though, is 90 days before the 2-year anniversary, she needs to submit Form I-751 to remove the conditions. And you're going to want to show and document that you guys are maintaining your marriage. Okay? That's really the way that works. Okay? So good. Okay, Ken, you clarified. Okay, correct. Your asylum application has been pending for 10 years. You had TPS for 2 years, labor certification for a green card. Good. So you might be eligible. In my experience, it's often not the case that you're eligible to adjust, but talk it through very carefully with a lawyer and have a lawyer really review all your records. All right? Very good. Okay, Pink Cotton Candy 20, you say apologies, they naturalized after your 18th birthday. I got that. Well, in that case, you don't derive citizenship, and in that case, yes, you will need to apply for NATS for N400 U.S. citizenship. Okay. Feel free to call our office. We could help you through that process. Okay, we're here to help. We do that. So Mike Ba, hello, sir. We sent our responses to a NOID, Notice of Intent to Deny, due to a prior sham marriage, but we submitted strong evidence covered my prior marriage and my current marriage. What's my approval chances? Thanks. Thank you for asking this question. You are not alone. All right, you are not alone, and I'm actually working on a case right now where there's allegations that a prior marriage was a sham marriage, was just for immigration purposes, and I'm like, it wasn't the greatest marriage. It wasn't, they didn't have kids together. They have very little evidence, but it wasn't a sham, right? It wasn't solely for immigration purposes, all right? And so some of these cases, you got to push back. The government will they'll jump to conclusions sometimes, and you got to push back. So I'm glad you responded to the Notice of Intent to Deny. Good for you. What's your approval chance? I mean, it's impossible for me to say that without really looking at how well you put together the response, right? And how much evidence you included in. I mean, you say that the evidence was strong. Still, it's going to be up to the immigration officer. And for me to give you advice about that, I would need to see the packet with my own 2 eyes, all right? And so feel free to call our office, and we could coordinate that if you would like that. Okay, Anna K., you ask, an I-751 pending, can I travel with the extension letter? Yes, you can. Going to try for my citizenship soon. Okay, great. Very good. Okay. Very good. Rashana Bell, yay, thank you. Okay, yep, you're welcome. Carlos Rua, thank you. Okay, you're welcome as well. Okay, so Jesus is Lord. I see your question there. Hello, how long does it take for a VAWA I-485 to get approved? Thank you. Yeah, you've asked that before. Let me just check. USCIS. I'll check current processing times for the I-485. We'll see if I can get it for you. Based on family. So you have to put it in at uscis.gov. You have to put it in based on the field office. So right now, what I just am looking at right now is that according to San Francisco, at least, I-45s right now are taking 16 months, so a year and a half. Okay, a year and a half. And if we did, yeah, they don't allow me to put it into Vermont. Sometimes Vermont Service Center handles VAWA-based. Yep. So it doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me more than that. So I'll say 16 months. Okay, that's my answer for today. All right, and then those processing times are approximate and they can change, and it says only 80% of the cases are completed within that time, which means 20% take longer, right? So there you go. All right, Leela, I see your question. My husband became a permanent resident. The IRS still hasn't received an ITIN to a social security number, and I'm afraid. Okay. He'll be on the IRS illegal immigrant list handed to ICE. What can I do? No, he won't. I mean, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If he became a permanent resident already, then he's not unlawful in the U.S. He does not need to worry about ICE looking for him anymore. He's got a green card, all right? Unless he's violated the terms of his green card, or unless he is, unless he is like active politically or otherwise being, on immigration's list for some other reason. Yeah, don't worry about information sharing between the IRS and DHS. In his situation, he's already got a green card. Okay, rest assured. All right. Let's see. Anna K, you say thanks, you're welcome. Absolutely. Norma, you say, how long does it take to get a decision after sending an RFE? It's an AOS case, U.S. citizen petition for a parent. Thank you for asking that question. There is no one answer to it. All right. It depends on what the RFE was. It depends on the officer that's reviewing your case. Anywhere from 2 weeks to 5 months to sometimes even longer. Okay. So Jesus is Lord. You say thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. You say you applied in March of 2022. It's with Vermont. Okay. Yep. So it's outside of normal processing times, but that's fairly common in these days. And so you could follow up, right, with the Vermont Service Center and do an inquiry there. But otherwise, it's, if you want much more granular advice about how to take over your VAWA case, or, maybe we could do a review of it and see if there's anything that was done improperly with it, etc., give you a second opinion, we'd be happy to do that. Okay? All right, and Leela, thank you for the peace of mind. Yeah, thank you for being here, and you're very welcome. Okay? All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much. That's all the questions that were here today. So thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate each of you. If you're just tuning in right now, my name is Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. And if this was useful, if this was helpful, please take a moment, go to our channel in YouTube, type in Landerholm Immigration into YouTube, and then hit the subscribe button. All right, subscribe to our channel. We're going for 20,000 subscribers right now. And so you'd really help us out to hit our goal if you'd be willing to do that for us. When you do that, if you also hit the notifications bell, then you can receive a notification whenever we upload an additional video with updates and news and things of that nature. And lastly, if you are looking for help with your immigration process and with your immigration case, please feel free to give us a call. We are here to help. We would love to help. All right? So thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate each of you. And that's all I got for today. All right? I'm Otis Landerholm, Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. And we'll see you next time on our next episode of The Empowered Immigrant Live. Thanks a lot, everybody. Make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.